What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're doing a deep dive into how much money I've made so far this year buying and selling cards. I'm going to be going over, my top sales, my top losses, just doing a deep dive into my spreadsheet, going over all my financials. So, if you guys do want this spreadsheet, this template, you can download it on my Patreon. I'll leave a link in the description. It's like $3 or $4. Would really help me out, and I took a lot of time to make this. I think it's gonna provide a lot of value to anyone who uses it, and you'll easily make your money back by diving deep into your own card business data and saving money, and learning what works and what doesn't. So we'll start on this purchases and sales tab, just going over all of my cards that I bought and sold, including the total profit for each card, all that kind of stuff. Then we'll hop over to my personal collection and long-term holds, kind of stuff that I'm just keeping myself for right now, or I'm planning on keeping for the next year, 2 years in the future. I can always copy and paste that over to this spreadsheet if I do sell it before then. And then we'll hop over to my dashboard and I'll do a deep dive into how much I've made so far, how much I've lost on some cards, and then also forecasting some of the projected sales for my cards at grading right now. All right, so if we filter this by sold inventory, so it's only showing the inventory that we've sold so far. And then we go over here and sort, I think it's A to Z. Yeah, we'll see all of the cards that I've lost the most on. So this Tiffany Stratton Persona lost over $100 on this one. I resubmitted it, thought I was gonna get a 10, did not. Wind up selling it for pretty bad loss after fees, but it is what it is. Also, this Gengar Perfect Order GameStop promo, I actually made a decent amount on one that I sold back raw, but this one I lost $73 on. Just some other, losses. After you get past that like $60, $50 range, they're all pretty small. So not too worried about that. And I always looked at the bigger picture instead of looking at each individual card and those losses, because it'll drive you crazy. Lost $73 in this Cooper flag, but the upside was there. The refractor could have made probably over $1,000 on the card. So some pretty bad losses, but again, once you get all those top ones out, starts evening out, and all these are pretty small that I'm not too worried about. So when you're doing this broader grade strategy, it's mainly what I do to make my money in this hobby. You're going to sell cards back raw for a loss. You're going to grade cards that get a 9 or an 8, and you have to sell them back for a loss. So it is what it is after the fees and all that kind of stuff. It just happens. So all right, so now we'll sort Z to A, and we'll see how much I've made on the top cards that I've sold. So as you can see here, these three Shohei Otanis were my biggest wins. I made, over $1,500 on, probably like $1,600 or $1,700 on these three cards alone. Just bought them at the right time. I was buying them in October last year. They're about 80 to 140 a piece, and I wound up selling them for a pretty penny. Sold one for 970, one for 949, and then one for 915 after fees. I was netting, around $800 per, and then I was only in them for, like I said, 150 to 200 a piece. So I did really well there. Also sold this Jackson Dart Optic Hollow via the PSA offer program. I accepted an offer for $573.28, and I bought the card for $25. So I was only into it after grading for $53.31. So that was pretty good as well. Some other good cards: the Stephon Castle Silver Prism sold for $700. I bought the card for around $74. So that was a pretty big win there. I did sell one last October for $270. So if I would have waited on that one, I would have made a lot more money too. But I do have like 3 or 4 at PSA right now, so hopefully those get tens. Also made a good amount on this Umbreon. Sold this card for $494 via the PSA offer program as well. Actually did sell another one of these Umbreons for a lot cheaper. Let's see, you can type in Umbreon right here. Yeah, so I sold it for $393 just a few months earlier. This one was sold in April and sold for $393 on eBay. So only netted $287, and then 2 months later I got an offer for $494 for the same card. So crazy how this Pokemon market is, but it is what it is. I'm still glad I made a profit on it. So that was a good, nice win there. And then we had some, Mega Charizard EXs. Actually have like 7 or 8 of them right now at PSA, so hopefully those do well too. Jackson Dart Prism Laser. We have a Mimikyu I bought this card I think for $15 or so at a card show, $10 at a card show. sold it for 319, so that was really good. So yeah, those are kind of my biggest wins. Obviously have a lot of them in this like $100, $200 range. So all mainly from grading cards. So yeah, I did really well with those. We can kind of go down here and look at just my overall grading orders as well. So I can sort by grading order, and ones that have been returned so far, like this Pokemon value bulk, made $2,300 on this order alone. That was pretty good. This one I just got back, actually. I've made $1,500 on it. And these One Piece cards right here are on auction right now at PSA. They're probably going to sell for around $250 to $300 a piece. So, we can just kind of throw that in here and see what the projected amount would be. 300, or yeah, let's do 250 actually. Be conservative here. So if those sell for that much, and we go over here and do sold, sold, and sold, we will have made over $2,000 on that order alone, and that was only 14 cards. So this magic card got a miscut, so not really sure what happened there. Gonna have to inspect that and see, but yeah. Anyway, that would be pretty big if we can get those sales. This sports order I made a little over $2,000 on, pretty good. This is the one that had the Shohei Ohtani's in there. Also regraded this Jacob Wilson home field advantage, that got a 10, and just some smaller cards right there. So overall, that one was a really good order as well. And then we go over here to this sports order. This one I made over $2,000 as well. So yeah, pretty consistent, making between 2.5 grand per order. So those are pretty good. I do have a lot of cards at grading right now. If we go over here to grading status and then clear and then select at grader, we can see how much money we have at grading right now. So looks like we have over $9,000 right now at PSA. So hopefully, we'll see a good multiplier in those, and I'll get to that here in a second. I have a way to kind of calculate projected profit roughly in the same ballpark for what I'm expecting. So let's hop over real quick to my personal collection, my long-term holds, and kind of look where I am there. All right, so looking at this, basically, we have just some cards that I'm keeping myself or planning on keeping for a while, kind of as long-term investments, like this Carlos Alcaraz cards right here. We have some more Alcaraz right there. Just bought this Net Pro one at 200. I think it was 200 on the site. So that one is a pretty cool card. Picked up a Jalen Hyatt for Tennessee. Other cards like this Ben Shelton, just some cheaper stuff, Steph Curry. So nothing too crazy here. Total cost of all these cards, a little over $1,800. So this is just stuff that, like I said, I plan on keeping for a while, and like to always build my PC out too, and kind of use my profits to fund some of my PC. All right, so now let's hop over to my dashboard and see exactly how much I've made so far. All right, so right here, this is my dashboard. I have not been keeping track really of my growth calculator. I'm supposed to be in here every single month at the end of the month, keeping track of like all my inventory value, all that kind of stuff, and I'll show the monthly growth per compared to the past month. But I've not been doing that. Kind of got lazy, so hopefully we'll start trying to do that here the next 5 or 6 months as the year ends. But yeah, so my total purchase price, this is on all the cards I bought so far this year, is a little over $24,000, which is pretty crazy. I would have never thought I would have been spending that much money on cards in a year, but here we are. And that just shows how much I've been selling and stuff, because obviously I haven't been buying $24,000 worth of cards at once. That'd be crazy for me. That's where I'm at right now. But being able to recycle that money, keep that cash flow going, and seeing that number is pretty cool. So paid over $1,000 in shipping, which is crazy. Tax, $300. Right now, I am currently in a tax-free state, but I'm planning on moving soon to one that I do need to pay tax in. So going to be getting a resale license. Highly recommend you guys look into that. A little bit of steps here and there, but I think it's fairly simple. So it's going to save a lot of money right there on tax. Total grading fees, a little over $2,000. Total sales, $26,000. Shipping charge, all that kind of stuff. So my total profit has been negative $5,000, $5,300, just because I've been reinvesting all my money and more into this business. My total profit on cards that I've sold so far, so everything that I've bought and sold, has been $8,000. So really good, really happy about that number. My total profit on graded cards has been $9,000. So That just goes to show you that strategy has been working really well for me. I have 104 cards at PSA right now, which is the most I've ever had by far. Normally I have like 20 to 30, so that's going to be huge when I get all these cards back. Have 141 cards in my inventory, nothing too crazy right now. Total cost of my raw inventory is a little over a grand. Have that $9,000 at grading, and then I have a little over $600 of graded inventory that I've graded myself and that I haven't sold yet. My current inventory cost is $13,000. That includes all of the money that I have at PSA though. Then we have my PC costs like we just went over. So this is a little like grading thing that I've just created, little to forecast how much money I think I'll be profiting after I get my cards back. So my gem rate right now is a little bit over 81%, which is really, really good. Been getting a little like more lenient on what I'm sending in. Honestly, I'd like to see that number down to the 75% range, just because that means I'm taking more chances. Like I said, like the wins will far outweigh the losses. So if I can get a few more wins, even if I'm taking a little bit more losses, that will do really well. So trying to find that like happy balance of sending in cards that are really clean that I think will get tens, and also taking some chances on cards that have high upside. So I've been doing that, but now with the PSA turnaround times increasing and also the cost going up, I'm kind of reverting back to sending in cards I think will get tens for sure. But we'll see how that strategy plays out. My PSA 10 average multiplier is 2.85. That means like if I'm sending in a card at PSA, I'm expected to get 2.85 times its value back. So that's pretty good. I would imagine my 9 multiplier is 0.71, so I'm losing money on the 9s I'm getting back. My projected proceeds, this is basically like of the amount of cash I have at PSA right now, what am I projected based on my gem rate? So if I have 100 cards at PSA, I'm expecting about 81 of them to get tens. My average multiplier for those 81 will be 2.85. And my average multiplier for that 19 that we're going to get nines or below is 0.71. How much money would that be based on the 9 grand I have at grading? So that would be $22,000 proceeds, and then profit would be $13,000. If you add that to my total profit on sold cards so far, that would be $21,000. So have most of the bulk of my like profit sitting at PSA right now. Like I said, like this is a really rough estimate. I'm not expecting to be close, like super close. I would imagine within like a $5,000 tolerance, up or down, depending on what cards gem, what cards don't gem, how much they sell for. Obviously, the multiplier is not going to stay the same. I do think I have a pretty decent sample size, but it's going to be a pretty rough estimate. But I think it just gives you a good ballpark, number in your head. Like, all right, $21,000. Like I can expect at least 15, maybe 25K, whatever, just in that ballpark range. So I think it's a kind of a good tool just to gauge how your business is doing. And so I'm not freaking out about this negative $5,000 total profit. But again, that just means I've invested more money because I've seen that this method works, and I'm going to continue to double down on it. So that's really it, guys. That's kind of the financials that I keep track of for my card business. Again, if you want to download this template, it's going to be not going to have all this information filled out. Also, I do have a tutorial on my YouTube. You can go check that out, but it'll be on my Patreon. Link in the description. Like I said, it's like $4, I think, on there. If you buy it on your like phone, then it's like $7. So I'd always buy it on like a PC or Mac. But super easy to use. If you do have any questions with it, let me know. Some things might not be, I might have missed something here and there. So let me know if you have any questions on it or figure out something that I need to fix. But overall, I think everything is working pretty smoothly, and I use it on my day-to-day basis in my card business to keep track of everything, and it's been working really well so far. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I will post another one of these videos maybe in a few months after I get these orders back, or at the end of the year. Hopefully we'll do this maybe 2 to 4 times a year, just to see where my card business is at. Help me stay accountable as well. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys next video. Peace.